Welcome to We Might Be Nerds, a podcast about everything from entertainment and technology to science and history. I'm your host, Dylan Critchfield.
And I'm Kyle Montgomery.
I'm Sarah Critchfield.
And I'm Jacob Montgomery.
So following last week's Thanksgiving potluck of sorts, we decided this might be a better format for us to roll with on the regular, it's a little bit less stressful for us in terms of research. Maybe not everybody will bring a topic every week, but this will probably just be our kind of go-to. Everybody brings something to the table and just have a bit of a chat. So, I think we decided in our pre-show discussion that I'm starting out this week. Is that right, guys?
It's your turn.
It's your move.
Your move.
It's time to do the duel.
I'm
Let's
passing
go.
you the controller.
All right, I'm going to drop a link to you guys in our chat real quick.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
Because there's, Mandalorian is probably, the hit TV show of the past couple years. And as amazing a Star Wars property as it is, what's I think is kind of even more amazing is the technology it's actually pioneering. They are using what are called virtual sets, which are 720-degree surround LED walls that actually display the environment in the place of a green screen. And it actually has LED panels going over the top of the set as well. So it eliminates all the problems of a green screen, stuff like spill, where sometimes you can see green reflections in objects the actors are holding. And gives them a lot more to work with. Everything that's displayed on the screen is actually built in Unreal Engine, which is the video game engine that powers games like not just Unreal Tournament, but Fortnite, the Gears of War franchise. There are a lot of series that use the Unreal Engine. But to see a gaming technology in conjunction with what is essentially just a highly specialized video wall being used to replace green screens, I just thought it was really amazing. And then I read up on it a little bit more. So one of the advantages of it is a lot of the work that can be done that is right now traditionally done in post-production in terms of computer-generated environments and effects can be done in pre-production and explored by producers and directors in VR. So they can actually get a sense of the space that they're working with from the video wall and then complement that within this giant set with practical effects. Over 50% of the footage from The Mandalorian Season 1 was shot on one of these sets, using purely a video wall, practical effects, and a few actors. All the environment is all displayed on this LCD wall, on this virtual set. And there's the video wall actually interacts with the camera as well, such that it focuses the rendering on the area of the screen that the camera is currently focused on. It's been pioneered by Industrial Light and Magic, which of course was owned by Lucasfilm, so Disney got that when they got Lucasfilm. And it looks like it's going to be in use in a lot of other TV series. It looks like Jon Favreau was the one who kind of pushed for this kind of technology to be utilized, from his work on, The Lion King and other technologies. But I don't know, I just thought this was really cool that they're working with companies like Epic Games and NVIDIA to use gaming technology in the Hollywood context. I have to imagine if they're using Unreal Engine and they're getting in with NVIDIA, they're definitely using ray tracing to get all the realistic effects that we see in, the landscapes of Tatooine, the realistic shadows.
Mm-hmm.
It's just wild.
So what you're saying is that this is yet another value of video games.
In a sense, it's a use of the video game technology for a practical purpose, for filmmaking in particular. If you think about all the travel that has been done for Star Wars properties in particular, I think, where was it J.J. Abrams had them go to?
I can't remember. I know part of A New Hope is Tunisia, I think, and they still have some of like the set. It's just they left it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember where J.J. Abrams went.
Oh, it was to Jordan. It was to Jordan.
Oh, okay.
I apologize. Yeah, but so for all these television series, instead of having to go on location, if this really takes hold in Hollywood, I mean, that's a lot less travel for those people. It expands the kind of environments that can be utilized, and it eliminates so many of the problems that they have with the green screen, especially when you think of like the perspective of an actor actually being able to see the environments around them. I don't know if you guys have seen the behind the scenes footage of like Avengers Endgame or any of that, where you've basically got 50 actors on this giant green screen set.
Right, yeah, just like a giant blue thing with like some platforms and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of feels like the way it's always been done.
Exactly. That's how all the computer-generated environments have been done before. But now you have it to where the actors can see their environment and actually respond to it. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's just a whole new level of detail. And I have to wonder how much there is just in ease of shooting, like shooting a scene for whoever's working on that, and like how much less time, how much less effort it takes to mentally get into the mindset and actually come out with a product in 1 or 2 takes, maybe a few more, compared to having a green screen. Because I have to imagine there's so much work that goes into that, and just being able to have context from your environment using these LED walls, it's really incredible stuff.
And just think of the scenes where the director didn't tell the actor about something that was going to happen to get that surprise reaction. If they just had the environment do that, that would be so much more impactful and genuine of a reaction.
Yeah, and like having the set wrap around 270 degrees, so you only have like this 90-degree space of this set that is not video wall. You get real-time reflections off of shiny objects. That specifically in Mandalorian, the protagonist's armor is very shiny, very reflective. So you're able to get those realistic effects. Whereas, I don't know if any of you have seen these screenshots from Endgame where Captain America's shield is actually reflecting green from the green screen of the environment that they're shooting in. That's kind of hard to digitally edit out. They call that spill. But it eliminates all of those problems as well. It just looks like it has so many advantages, and I'm really curious to see how this technology moves forward. And what it means for like visual effects artists. Because, I mean, if they're doing all this stuff in pre-production now, that has to wildly change their workflow, right? Like, they don't have the actors in the scene. They can make the quote physical space and have the actors respond to that. It's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, because I did watch some of on Disney Plus. They have some of like behind the scenes things and like interviews of the Mandalorian. And there was one I know episode that featured this thing prominently. I can't remember what they call it, the particular one they have at Disney, but
Stagecraft. The technology is called Stagecraft.
Okay.
And it was developed by Favreau and his team at Golem Creations to create. They're the ones who made this, what they call the virtual production platform. They have a name for it on the set.
Yeah, because if I remember, it was like Lion King and then the Jungle Book he also helped with.
I know Jungle Book also used a lot of blue screens still.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were like starting to develop this. I think they use it for like some of the backgrounds, but not like the whole encompassing set.
Yeah, and the pictures of this set are just amazing. Like, at the top of the article I sent you guys, if you look closely, you can kind of see the seam at the top, because it looks like it's just a sky with some lights hanging off of it. It's kind of jarring, but if you look closely, you can see the seam of where the 20-foot high video wall meets the literal video ceiling. I think it's something like 75 feet in diameter.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
It's a massive space. I mean, I've always been a fan of practical effects and well-done computer graphics, but to see them combined in this way and streamlined is just really amazing. And I mean, the technology obviously has applications beyond just filmmaking. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see giant virtual rooms like this become commonplace in, again, amusement parks and things. Like,
Laser tag.
oh god, for laser tag, that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
And like, yeah, theme park rides and stuff just to, because yeah, I mean, I think the craziest thing is how natural the lighting looks,
Yeah.
which, yeah,
I mean, if it's anything accurate to that picture that is on the website, that's stellar.
Yeah, this Wired article
mean,
is awesome.
Yeah, there's a distinct line between the wall in the circular room and the ceiling. I mean, and you can tell it's there, but I mean, it's so close to being correct that it feels like that could just be stitched. Like, it could be edited to make it look
yeah, which
flawless.
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Now I also see in the picture, are those cameras that are up by the seam of the wall to the ceiling? There's like some black little dots, and they look like cameras to me.
They look like either cameras or accent lighting. I can't tell. But what's weird about this picture, and this is going to be in the show notes, is it almost looks like they're just sitting inside a giant glass room outside in a desert space.
That's what I thought it was at first.
It's so convincing that until someone tells you it's a video wall, it's like they're just in this glass place with these things stuck to its ceiling. I don't see what's special about it, you know?
Yeah, because it's hard to tell unless like on this picture the person like walked backwards through that 90 degrees that isn't the set, and you can see like the outside of the side screens. But yeah, it is really amazing, and yeah, to have so much stuff done before you're shooting instead of just like, oh, we'll fix it in post, just to have everything pretty much ready, for the CG side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a couple days since I actually watched the video on it, but they can still do post-production on it by changing the they can composite out the virtual environment and edit the virtual environment and then composite it back into, like, so if this mountain needs to shift because it's being obscured by an actor on screen, they can do that.
They can move whole mountains.
Yeah, for television and film, it's revolutionary, absolutely. But like, I'm kind of more interested in just like, how is this technology going to evolve in conjunction with, the cross reality stuff that I talked to Dr. Mark about. I'm actually be interested to talk to him and his dad, who I know has done visual effects in Hollywood before, about this. So maybe I'll try to get a hold of them and at least get a couple thoughts.
I wouldn't imagine there would be ones who would have an idea about that, being in close proximity, plus their specialties. I mean,
absolutely. If nothing else, I'll see if I can't just get, hey, what do you guys think of this? And, just get a wall of text and get a vibe from them.
Well, there you go.
But I can see this being like you go through something like this in a roller coaster, or like they had the 3D experiences at I think it was Universal Studios, where you'd go through on a roller coaster through all these different screens and things would pop out at you. I can see this being a great replacement for that. You don't have to have the glasses.
Yeah. It could also be really cool in like museum exhibits. There's a lot of times you get those traveling exhibits that they're very costly for the museums to host. If they had an exhibit room like this for their seasonal exhibits, that could be an interesting way to change it up and not, like, still have the content, but not maybe the physical pieces. I don't know.
I hadn't thought about it in the context of a museum, because, like, having almost photorealistic recreations of historical places and being able to kind of like walk people through those digitally would be really cool from a historical perspective for museums. I can see something like this going in the Smithsonian.
Like the art museums will have those period rooms with the furniture that you can only like take the one step inside the room and you gotta be across the bar to see it. Like if you could have a setup like this, that could be neat for actually going into the space.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure how it would work on a small scale application like that, but for this big room, giving that sense of environment, definitely. especially if it's combined with any sort of practical effect, like the rocks on this set. I think that's awesome. I don't know. I just know everyone's watching The Mandalorian right now, and I saw this piece of tech that they're using. I shouldn't say piece of tech. I should say giant set they're using.
Yeah, and then a bunch of programs behind it that make it work.
Yeah, like all the superhero films, I have to imagine they're going to start using stuff like this. I mean, it's all Disney
I want them
now.
to use kind of stuff like that. I mean, it just feels like a win-win no matter which way you look at it. It seems better for the actors. It seems better for the producers and those that are on the tech side of it.
Yeah,
It
and the
just
crew.
seems like a testament to efficiency now. It really, I can't wait to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, again, the reduction of travel required and the setup on site for shooting on location, the cost savings have to be astronomical after the initial investment. Let's be clear, this is a multi-million-dollar project. Those LED panels, they're not cheap and they're not easy to install.
They're so high res, I can't imagine that they would be.
No.
I've seen the price tags. I don't like it. I wouldn't want to break that, you know.
But yeah.
And also at this time, that's kind of nice because it makes things a little more COVID friendly. You know,
Yes.
living in this time, you don't have to have all these actors in the same space, especially the part where you're saying that people can be represented on these walls and interact with you in some sort of way, or have other
No.
things interact with you.
I want to be clear. They have multiple actors in scene, but they can have background characters on the LED wall.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, then you don't have to have a massive amount of people. You can have people that are, sanctioned to actually be on the lot.
Yeah, you have people on the lot, and like you don't need extras. Straight up, you don't need extras.
Exactly.
Which let's be clear, from a certain perspective, that's not exactly great. That's loss of job potential, but at the same time, when you're shooting something sci-fi where all those people are just going to be CGI anyway, just having them represented by a 3D model in a virtual space anyway might be ideal. Just for in-universe accuracy for whatever it is you're shooting.
I don't think they're going to just ditch the human touch. I don't know. For some reason, I can't see that. But who am I? Who am I?
I'm not familiar enough with the ethical boundaries of Hollywood one way or another to comment, so I will not.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why we live in the Midwest.
Yeah, where nothing interesting ever happens. But yeah, that's all I really had for this.
Except the weather.
Yeah, the weather's always changing.
Stupid weather.
So I don't have anything else for this. Any other thoughts from you guys?
Yeah, I'm still thinking. Yeah, I think like Sarah said, museum seems like a really good application, like an observatory kind of thing. Like you could look at a night sky.
That would be
I
cool.
think it would be pretty cool. Or like instead of having like a projector for like the OmniMax where it's like the IMAX, but it's kind of surround. It seemed to be like a lot more feasible and cheaper to just have all those screens instead of a huge costly projector.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, the St. Louis Science Center has a theater called the OmniMax, where it's basically a like almost semi-sphere screen that I forgot they even used a projector. But
Right.
have that be an LED wall totally makes sense. And it's this kind of God. The OmniMax is hard to describe, so now I have to put that in the show notes just to give a. All I can say about the OmniMax is it uses a lot of fly cams in its presentations, and you actually feel like you're flying through the spaces if you're watching something in the St. Louis Science Theater OmniMax.
Not for anyone with motion sickness.
Yeah, because I
for
watched
sure.
one about looking for wreckage of the Titanic, and I felt like I was getting seasick, but it's kind of a nod to how immersive it is, which I feel like this would even be more immersive.
Oh yeah, as far as immersive experiences go, I don't think you can do much better than this outside the context of a cross reality headset.
Right.
Mm-hmm. A quick note about that: they just switched to a laser projector last year, so I don't see
Oh.
them moving to. I have a buddy who's kind of he works tech inside the science center,
Oh.
so
Oh,
he
cool.
kind of gave us the scoop of what was going on inside there. And from what I've heard, it's amazing now, because it was strictly all film. It was 70 millimeter film that they would project. It, I mean, as glorious as that is, a laser projector kind of outdoes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he work on the planetarium side as well, or just the Omnimax side?
Just the OmniMax side at the moment.
Yeah, planetarium.
Yeah,
This
the
would be great for a
planetarium
planetarium.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, I don't see anybody switching over to LED walls until that technology becomes even cheaper than it already is.
Yeah. Oh, and I thought of a way to properly describe the Omnimax screen. It's like if you take an orange peel, take the orange out of it without cutting it, and then cut that into 8 equal pieces. One of those pieces is kind of the shape of the Omnimax screen. It's like an eighth of a sphere.
And put some tiny little seats inside of it.
Yep, that's basically it.
Seats for ants.
Yeah, and if you liked stadium seating, this is like triple stadium seating. It definitely inclines
If you sit in
quickly.
the front, your neck's gonna hurt.
Your neck's gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah.
This is laying straight back. I think the seats do recline that much. Like, you pretty much are laying straight back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they just redid the seating as well.
It's good to know that they're using modern projection technologies for that, finally. Places like the Science Center aren't funded enough, so unfortunately they won't see anything like this virtual set anytime soon. But for places like the Smithsonian, who knows? This might become a new standard over the next couple decades. Fun stuff.
Aquariums.
That would be cool for aquariums. Yeah. Or just like, yeah.
No animals were harmed in the filming of this aquarium.
Unless we filmed it in nature, in which case we had no control over that.
Right.
But they are fish, and sometimes they have teeth.
Nom nom Omnimax.
Oh no.
Nom nom.
What a fool!
Oh god. Alright, so yeah, virtual sets, cool stuff. We'll have some links for y'all. Now, I don't know what anybody else has brought to the table today. I think Jake and Kyle, you each had something, yes?
Yes, and so we can end on a lighter note, I will go first.
Bum, bum,
Thank
bum.
you.
So this is an old article. What?
You're bringing depression to us? Oh no.
No, I mean, it's, yeah. I'm trying to remember where I first saw this incident. So this is I'm going to talk about a natural disaster that happened in 1986.
No, so before any of our times.
Right, in Cameroon.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to talk about.
No.
I knew of another disaster that happened in '86.
Which one are you talking about,
The
Kyle?
blizzard?
Chernobyl.
Oh, Jesus.
Huh?
That's not natural disaster, though.
That's an unnatural disaster.
But they used elements. Well, those are.
So there we go.
I guess that one is naturally
Killer
occurring.
Yes.
Lake? Okay.
Yes, I have heard about these.
Yeah, Killer Lakes, and this one is specifically about a lake, like I said, in Cameroon, which is a country in Africa on the west coast near the equator.
Okay.
Yeah, so on August 21st, 1986, approximately 9 p.m., at first, like, what people didn't know happened, just some people were like going already in sleep or in a village, and they just noticed that people and animals just dropped to like the ground.
What?
And there have been like stories about this before. I think there was another lake around this area where this happened.
And wasn't it the first notification like elephants specifically?
The thing is, like, yeah, elephants like birds, like falling out of the sky. So this lake is about, I think it was 3,000 feet in elevation. It's a crater lake, so there's no water feeding into it. And the lake itself is like 1.5 miles to like a mile wide, but it's 600 feet deep. And then at the bottom, is a like old volcano that's still releasing gas, mostly CO2. And because it's a crazy amount of coincidences. It's a Crater Lakes. There's no water going into it, disrupting the water. It's on the equator, so there's not a huge change in temperature. And so what happens, since it's 600 feet deep and all this CO2 is going into the bottom of the lake, it's like a giant bottle of soda. There's all the CO2 in there, but you can't see it and they don't even know what triggered it. But yeah, all the water on top of it is just keeping the CO2 in what's called carbonic acid, which is when carbon dioxide is mixed with water, but there's not bubbles, it's just in solution.
Yeah.
And there was like some kind of rock slide or earthquake, and they don't know exactly what happened. So when that happened, all the CO2 just suddenly burst from the lake. They estimate, because of plants that were around the lake, that there was like a water stream like 100 feet wide, and then there was like a 70-foot wave that went in each direction. And then from that, there was, let's see here. I have the stats somewhere. 1 billion cubic yards of CO2.
Holy crap.
And since it's on the top of a mountain or a volcano, all the people in Cameroon, or in this village around this Lake Nyos, live down in like a valley. And CO2 is 1.5 times denser than the atmosphere at that level. So it's just on the ground. And it went down in the valley and it just sat there. And so obviously plants didn't die because
they feed on this stuff.
Yeah. But people, if you would start asphyxiating like almost immediately, so you're just choking to death.
And let's be clear, this is not carbon monoxide. This is carbon dioxide, just in extremely high quantities. Holy cow.
Right, yeah. Like what's in, like I said, soda is carbonated. And so that's what I was saying, it's a bummer, because from this disaster, there was 1,800 people that died and 3,500 livestock. Like cattle and stuff, yeah.
Wow,
and
I have never heard of this.
Yeah, and they said people up to 16 miles away were like affected by this cloud of CO2, which is, I think it was also like colorless. So you couldn't even see it coming if you were like far enough from the lake to not even notice that this eruption happened. But still within that range.
Wow.
I can't even fathom how dense that was.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
and it's
what
just
do you even do about that? Like,
yeah, and they were saying like the wall on average of this gas is moving at like 45 miles an hour, so you can't outrun that unless you get like in a car and you know what's coming.
But like, how do you know it's coming? Like, you see the mountain burp? I mean, you just hear the mountain go,
new soda, mountain burp.
And like, like some people, like, instead of like actually dying, they just passed out and woke up, and then they saw like, their whole village
just dead.
Yeah, and then the creepiest thing too was that there wasn't even flies on people and livestock that had died, because the flies had also died.
That's some horror movie stuff.
I know.
That's terrifying.
It is.
Yeah, that's not the killer lakes I thought you were going to go with. Wow, that's worse.
Yeah.
And there's more than just this lake. What was this lake called again?
It's Lake Nyos, Nyos. And there was another one nearby that, like, I think a year or two before had killed like somewhere in the hundreds of people. But with that happen, they didn't know really what the cause of it was. And I know, like, they were saying like a lot of the people that lived in the villages around here came like relatively later, like in the 1900s. And like a lot of the natives that were there to start always lived above the lake. People living above the lake survived. Yeah. And they had like, there was, obviously, if you don't understand what happened, back like in, before, like 1900s when they didn't understand.
They angered the gods. That's the answer.
Right,
You've
yeah,
angered
that's-
a
yeah,
deity, and they plagued you. And
Face the wrath.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing was like people that went to the lake after this happened. That eruption, which is weird to think it's eruption because it's just water. It wasn't like
Yeah.
actual magma. That the top of the lake for a while was just red because there was so much iron at the bottom that the iron went up to the top of the lake and then oxidized. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm seeing here that it's like
Wow.
normally a crystal clear blue, and then it was like brick red almost. And like,
Right. Yeah.
like if you think in the context of like 19th century or earlier, you see a lake turn red, and all the people who live below that lake have just perished, and even the bugs are dead.
Yeah. And there's no sign of disease or anything. They just
like obviously this is supernatural. Like in those times, it's so terrifying. Just the fact that it turns red because of the iron. It's like, no, this is the sign that blood has been spilled.
Right.
But there's no blood. They're just holy.
Yeah, and then this normally still lake, there's just a giant eruption of water in the sky, and then there's like 70-foot waves in a lake that doesn't have any water going into it.
And like scientists don't know what to do about that. Like
they've started, they have done some things. Because like first they had like a couple ideas because you can like drop like a bunch of limestone apparently into lakes like this. But they found that was too expensive. I guess when you drop limestone, it's porous enough to where the carbon dioxide will come out of solution and just slowly bubble up rather than all at once. You can also right, yeah, like one of the things on there is like you could just bomb the bottom of it so it just covers everything up, which is also dangerous.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah,
they dropped a lot of Mentos.
Right. So what they had to do is just get like I think they said a 6-inch diameter pipe that's like 700 feet long.
That's what I was about to say.
Go through the lake and then into the rock under it, and then they had like a primer pump on it that started pulling water from the bottom and shooting it up, and that slowly releases the gas.
Yeah, because my thought was like, just put a straw in it and put a fan on it to vent the CO2 out at a a non-deadly pace.
Yeah, so that's and there's when they did that, it was like in 2001, and they said it'd be like 30 years before enough CO2 was released to where there wouldn't be a danger of this happening. And I think since then they have put in another 1 or 2 pipes, but it's kind of sad because it's a kind of like a more remote village, and obviously impoverished. And I'm trying to remember on this article I sent, there was like another lake that's a magnitude bigger than this one and in a more populated area that they've started putting pipes into. But it's just, and it's crazy because like I said, it's all these different sets of things combined where it's it's a lake that doesn't get disturbed from outside sources.
It's at an elevation that the CO2 comes down when it burps.
Right, and and it's deep enough to where the water on top is holding. Because if like the lake was like 100 feet deep, it would just kind of naturally bubble up. Yeah, and they said if it was more north or south, when in the summer or in the winter, like the water on the top would get colder and denser, and then go down, and then the water on the bottom would slowly come up, and that would mix it enough to where this kind of thing wouldn't happen. But since it's so close to the equator and the temperature's steady, so
that is wild and not something I knew existed on Earth. It's intriguing, but also just terrifying and awful. You were kidding when you said you had a bummer.
Yeah, no, but I thought, and it's really interesting. And then of all like the natural disasters, at least this one is something that they've figured out a way to fix, and it ended up being like a super low tech solution.
Yeah, stick a straw in it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because now it just has like kind of like a permanent like almost fountain looking thing.
Yeah, like a bleeder valve. Spots. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna think of that Sugar Rush land that's in what's that movie?
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, and then that
It's
volcano.
never going to be the same. Every single time I see that volcano with Mentos and Coke,
Oh God.
I'm always going to think of this now.
All right, so that's
Not a
Lake
bummer,
Nyos in
but it is
Candyland.
interesting.
Yeah, Candyland.
Man, that's messed up.
Yeah.
That's super messed up.
Another movie
So I know not super technology, but it's a lot of kind of interesting.
Very interesting
I
science.
guess,
Very
physics,
interesting.
science.
Yeah, history. Like, this is a very deep. This is the Smithsonian Magazine that you've provided. This is a wealth of information. Absolutely will be in the show notes.
Yeah, and the article was from 2003, but yeah, like they said, the last time this happened was 1984.
No,
So
dude, this is an awesome subject matter, and I say awesome in the holy crap, that's terrifying way.
right, yeah, it is terrifying and yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, definitely more interesting than where I thought you were going, because the killer lakes I'd heard of was just from algae in the drinking water. But yeah, this is
Oh.
definitely more interesting than that. Unfortunate, but more interesting.
That was unexpected.
I would
Yeah,
be
no.
interested in seeing like a computer modeled simulation of this event, just to like have any visual aid, like just for how that whole scenario works, would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I will try. I know there was a video I watched about it too that I'll try to send where it kind of has like a diagram of like what happened, like how the CO2 builds up and then how it erupts and how it moves down into the valleys off of the top of this dormant volcano. Because yeah, when I was reading about like the phenomenon they called a limnic eruption, and apparently things like this have happened at a lot smaller scale in Yellowstone National Park because
Really?
there's all the active
yeah,
they
yeah.
found because they found like a couple animals every once in a while that just have died for no apparent reason, and they think it's from this similar kind of thing. But it's just like kind of terrifying, ticking time bomb.
Nature bomb.
Right, I couldn't. It's so crazy. First time I read it, I'm like, well, this isn't real. This is like some fake thing. Because it was like on some list I read a while ago, like the top 5 like crazy natural disasters or something. And yeah, it just kind of stuck with me because like you said, it sounds like something out of a horror movie or a scary science fiction movie.
Yeah.
The horror movie would be titled like "The Silent Fart That Kills You" or something like
Right,
that. Yeah. It's just a silent wet fart.
Yes.
Just call it breathless.
And you're talking, like before we started, you kept talking about water burps, like like when water burps kill.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
If I didn't feel small already, oh my gosh.
Yeah, a lake can kill you.
That is intensely. That is intense. Oh wow!
Yes, I know. I can't imagine what. Yeah, just like a invisible, dense cloud that when it hits you, just can't breathe. There's like nothing you can do, literally.
I mean, unless you have an oxygen tank and a mask.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
All you can do.
Yeah,
and
that was.
If you have it close enough to grab it.
Yeah, I think they said like the engineers that installed these pipes that help vent it were wearing oxygen masks because they were afraid just agitating the bottom of it with the equipment
set it off
was going to set it off. Yeah,
and I mean, like we're talking 1,800 dead. Like, it's not like an airplane where you can make a drop mask. You can put like a CO2 detector somewhere, and suddenly all these masks pop out in all these huts. That's not how it works. I mean,
yeah, because like even if like it went off when it like happened, like I said, it was moving at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, there's no hope.
Like a 16-mile radius. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but they can prevent the event rather than having to respond to the event. To be able to prevent an event is always better than having a response to an event.
Yeah, and a relatively, like they said, it was like a couple $1 million, but still, the technology behind it is just basically a pipe, and it's kind of like when you empty out like a fish tank, you just put in and siphon it off.
Yeah,
that's basically all you're doing. Yeah, put in a tube at the very bottom, and then they have like a motor that starts at the bottom and just starts the process, and then it naturally just ejects from the top of the tube. Yeah.
Event prevents.
Event prevents.
Yeah, that's what I had.
I like it.
I like it.
It's a little
it's a
darker.
bummer, but it's a cool enough and interesting bummer that I'll allow it.
Right.
And the statute of limitations is up on that, so we can, we can talk about this without feeling sad. I guess I don't know.
No, it's still sad, even 24
sad.
years, no, 34 years later.
It doesn't make it
I
less
know.
terrifying, but it's a problem that
The
we've
science is cool.
The mental image I had when you talked about the livestock dying was like, again, like I hate to make a fart joke, but like the scene in The Lion King 1.5 where Pumbaa farts and all the animals fall over.
Right, yeah. That's
the exact image that came to mind, except it's permanent,
Right.
and that's horrifying.
And there's not even, flies, which was like, God, that would be creepy.
Like, that's the one good thing out of it.
Right.
No flies.
no
flies.
One place on Earth with no bugs.
Ugh. I'm gonna have trouble sleeping tonight.
creepy crawlies. Oh,
Or the lack thereof, which is even more creepy. Just no thank you. Alrighty then. That was a bit of a bummer. Kyle, I know you've got something fun for us probably, but before that, can we just talk about all the Disney news this past couple of days? Like, all the stuff that's come out in the past couple of days? Because there's a lot.
There is a lot.
how many Star Wars things are gonna be made for that?
There are 7 properties, most of which are television series. There's going to be a Rogue Squadron movie. There's a series called Visions that's anime takes on certain aspects of the Star Wars universe. There's the Ahsoka series. There's the Rebels series. There's the Bad Batch, which is about a batch of clone troopers. There is Andor, which is based on the character Cassian Andor from Rogue One. And they're in pre-production on a series about Lando Calrissian.
Oh my gosh.
On top of that, they announced 20 new Marvel things between TV shows and movies to come out, and along with just a smorgasbord of other revivals, reboots, and new IPs. Like, all this dropped. We're recording this on the 11th, so all this just dropped yesterday from us. What are you guys thinking about? What are you guys' thoughts on just the mountain of content reveals for things to come in basically the next 3 years?
Personally, I'm behind enough already, so I got to take this one chunk at a time.
I know.
Help me.
Yeah, especially if you're a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is exciting. I'm just like hoping they're not getting like too saturated with the stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've really liked the Mandalorian, and I hope they bring that same level of, like, I don't know, detail and
Production value
and work into the other properties.
And respect for the IPs and,
Right.
Yeah. I'm of two minds on it. It's, on one hand, I enjoy all of these things, and part of me loves to see it. The other part of me knows that Disney is absolutely a monstrosity of a media company that is too big. It's just too big a company. No company should be that big. To be able to produce all those things under the same umbrella is just insane to me. I don't know. I have some discomfort about it, but will I still watch it? Absolutely. Because, yeah.
Will you wear Mickey ears while doing that?
Absolutely not. I will enjoy their properties without idolizing a company.
You must submit.
Submit to the mouse.
The mouse rules all.
I think, the most excited thing, or the thing I'm the most excited for, was the new Chippendale Rescue Rangers, and that's mostly just because the voice actors are John Mulaney Yeah, John Mulaney and Andy Samberg are gonna be Chip and
Oh,
Dale.
Wow, really?
So, yeah, I'm excited
oh
for that.
man.
Because I watched it, I think a little bit, Chip and Dale Rangers as a kid,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I mean it's something that my kid can watch that I would also enjoy. Um, yeah, looking forward to that.
I definitely enjoy the idea of reboots I can watch with my kids. Because we've been watching the Animaniacs reboot, which on one hand is just absolutely spectacular, and I love it. It is also something I am not showing my kids until
Yet.
they
Yeah.
are teenagers, at least. We got a few years to go on that because, yikes.
There's a lot.
Just
Lots of
yikes on some of those for kids.
Just talk
The-
to them
Yeah.
and have yet.
the classic stuff, right?
Yeah, the classics.
Yeah, the kind of stuff I can watch with my daughter.
Absolutely. I just thought it was worth mentioning that, hey, that happened the past week, and also the
Yeah,
COVID
it's
vaccine
still
got approved. So, hooray, science.
Yay.
Good
one
news.
of them. Yeah,
The first good news for maybe getting back to some form of normalcy. None of us is well enough informed to actually speak to that, but hey, it's worth noting that happened this week, and we are happy about it.
yes.
Yep. Smiles all
On
around.
a timestamp.
Return to some normalcy very soon.
Yes. And in the meantime, Kyle, what have you brought for us today?
Can
'Cause-
we roll right along into Kyle's?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring you all to the finish line. That's what I'm gonna do. To the finish line. Anyway, so during COVID, there's been a large lack in sports, in sporting content, anything that's remotely watchable, especially since the Olympics were postponed. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics were postponed. So people have been trying to turn to whatever to get their sporting fix. Me, I loved watching golf. So I really enjoyed that was still something to be shown. But most people are not really into golf all that much like me. So they turn to other things like onto YouTube.
The internet has everything.
Yes, the internet is a myriad of resources and other interesting stuff. But
And
anyway,
I thought it was just a series of tubes.
It's not a
Mhm.
big truck.
Oh, okay.
so people have been turning to other things that could be even close to considered sports. One of them was something I had run into last year, and I didn't know how much this would play into anyone's sporting fix. Like, who knew that this was going to happen? But I had run into the world of marble runs, like what you would remember.
Like you run on
as a
top of
kid.
marbles.
No, not quite like that. Not like a Three Stooges. "Ah, I'm slipping on marbles. What? No, not that. But like those things you had as a kid, you would like build up these these pre-made pieces. You would build up this kind of tower thing. You would start at the top and you would load a marble in there, and it would go down a track, and there would be like a loopy thing, and it would go down to the next piece and go down to another
I remember
piece,
those.
another until it drops to the bottom. Well, there are some people that have been able to make a career of that.
Really?
I mean, there's still the hobbyists that do marble races and do kind of Rube Goldberg type machines
Mhm.
and post on Facebook and stuff like that. But there are people that have stretched into sporting events, not just of the marble races themselves, but of bringing a new dimension to it. The one in particular that I remember seeing was a YouTube channel called Gels Marble Runs.
All right, and you have provided a link to us on YouTube. And I've just kind of jumped a couple minutes into this video that, of course, again, as everything will be posted in the show notes. Explain to me what's going on here.
Okay, so the video I have provided to you, I simply went to the most viewed video on that channel. And it was the one that brought me to the channel in the first place, the one where YouTube's beautiful algorithm was bestowed upon us.
Just drop this in your lap.
Yep, it was just kind of right here. Hey, look, here's something we think you'll like. And I'm like, yes, I loved marble runs as a kid. You want marbles doing weird and cool things? Yes, please. I will watch this. And as I watched it, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, this guy is setting up, in this particular video, an entire Olympic event.
I see these. We've got names for these marbles. Yeah.
Yes, of like of these marble runs, where I mean, it's basically a scaled down marble version of the Olympics with Olympic events made just for the marbles, and the colors and the patterns of these marbles are kind of representing countries and teams. And these have garnered a lot of views. The guy has over 1 million subscribers, so he's a gold play button member or whatever that means. And that video in particular has over 1 million views. I think it's 1.2 million.
This one is 12 million
views. That's what it was.
That's wild.
2 subscribers, 12 million views on just the qualifier for the 2019 Marble Olympics. I love the pun. That's
this is insane because he's just got a bunch of the funnels where they spin around and go down, and it's like whichever marble just spins around these the least is going to make it first. So
yeah, it's kind of like those gravity well things where you put a coin in and they would just spin around.
But there's a little bit of thought to that. It's actually flip-flopped. It's not who finishes first. It's
who lasts the longest.
Really?
Oh, so it's an endurance kind of.
So the person who finished the marble, I look at me personifying the marbles just like in these videos. The marble that reaches the bottom first, the one in last place.
Look at this uncanny valley marbles.
For this event that we're watching right now, I'm watching the last one spin around this eighth cup, and it just goes forever.
It goes for a long time, but that's because they are doing qualifying rounds for each individual quote unquote marble country. Because there was one that was like green ducks and one that was like hazers or something like that, which were like these like marbles with a little bit of a foggy interior. You called it hazers, and one of them was like cat's eyes and
Raspberry Racers, Thunderbolts, Team Galactic.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's like people are just randomly making these things up. This YouTube channel has been around since 2006, and I'm sure that they have all this stuff archived. Yes, but not to this kind of scale. It was more a hobbyist kind of thing. It's these two brothers from the Netherlands, Joe and Dion Baker, started this in 2006. And their content, at least for this revised part of the channel, only goes back about 2 years. But there is a lot there to unpack. Just runs upon runs upon runs upon different types of themes, upon everything. But these are the things that have gotten big views, are these Marble Olympics. I think they started calling them, what does that say on the title?
Marble League 2019 qualifiers.
Marble League, yeah. They changed the title to Marble League. It used to be Marble Olympics, but now it's Marble League. I don't know if for some reason it ran into trouble or something like that, but I don't know. You can still
the Olympics
tell
is pretty,
for marbles.
It's like Super Bowl where you can't put that in stuff.
Yeah,
it says 8 Super Bowls.
I'm afraid to even say it right here.
Oh, the thing is, we don't get paid to do this, so they're not going to come after us.
The big game.
The big game.
That big game with the brown ball. And the people throwing it, people tackling other people.
Annual
taking it down to a colored zone.
Tackle fest.
Score down. I don't know.
But
anyway,
here's a question I have on this. Because I'm not listening. I'm obviously watching this right now, but I have the audio. I'm imagining they're doing this like professional sports broadcasting over it, right?
Yes, there is a particular guy, because these people are from the Netherlands. They actually got someone who is a sports racing enthusiast, a guy by the name of Greg Woods. They got to do the broadcasting for this. I mean, and this guy is like what's his name?
That
Bob
one
Costas.
guy.
Bob
Bob
Costas.
Costas.
I mean, this
Yeah.
guy is Bob Costas level good. Very enthusiastic, very easy to tell you exactly what's going on, to try to take in all this information and spit out something that you can actually kind of physically see what's going on. Like he's very good at breaking it down and explaining what's going on and being engaging. That's the thing about it. The kind of quality that goes into this, because I mean, you're looking at and we'll provide this in the show notes, of course. The formatting that they have, the set building they have. What do you see in the set?
It's just
Fans of like Olympic audience of marbles and watching these
And then
races.
on the grandstands above the marbles, there's like a little, like a screen that I guess if you were at the event would look like a
I love the LCD screen.
The Jumbotron.
jumbotron.
got-
Yeah, and they have the graphic
It's got fake little
overlays.
Banner ads.
stuff.
Yeah,
It's
it has,
got
like, the two
graphic
different-
overlays. And it's got the presentation of this is absolutely stellar.
And I
Mhm.
like after the one where they were all going down the swirling tubes. Now they have team
Push.
push-up block.
Oh
Can you
yeah,
explain that one, Kyle?
yeah, absolutely. This is actually very similar to what you were talking about last week with the Pinewood Derby.
Yes.
Wasn't not last week or last show? Was
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Our
Pinewood
last
Derby.
episode? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you instead have 4 of these marbles starting at the top. They are all engaged on a trigger to go down at the same time, and these 4 marbles
4 lanes
At
of
the
4
very
marbles.
collide into a block that is set on the track, and they are judging who can push it the furthest. And they have a tape measure down, and they measure by centimeter how far this group of 4 can push this block.
I love that it's triggered by a pinball.
Oh yeah, I know
Yeah.
that. Oh, that is
It's a nice
just
touch.
giant metal bearing. It's great.
Yeah, the names
So
on this are good. Like
Hilarious.
with the Pinewood Derby stuff, like that's very fun from a competition standpoint. But this is a whole other level. This is something like I could actually see myself watching just for entertainment, and like I can see where people get the sports fix with the sheer production quality, and the presentation of this is so good. And there's
that's what
a lot of
that's
physics
exactly
in
what I
here.
I know it's absolutely amazing, and I mean there are tons of fans, lots of people that comment. They create. I believe the fans are the ones that have created the names for all the teams, have come up with all the names for the individual marbles that compete. Because if you notice, each marble that competes is a different name from a different marble country or region.
God,
That is excellent
it's-
community involvement.
I just want to read some of these names real quick because I've got one of the result. I've got the results screen for block pushing. You've got Green Ducks, Limers, Jungle Jumpers, Raspberry Racers, Indigo Stars, Team Galactic, Thunderbolts, Pinkies, Cobalts, Rojo Rollers, Mellow Yellow, Jawbreakers, Team Momo, Balls of Chaos, Chocolatiers,
Balls of
Team,
Chaos. That's my
Team
favorite one.
Primary, Snowballs, Shining Swarm, Hazers, and Crazy Cat's Eyes.
Oh,
Yeah, and I saw earlier they cut to the crowd where the crowd was cheering for a particular team. There was like hashtags for the raspberry
Yes.
something. It's hilarious.
oh. Did you?
Oh,
see-
now we've got a relay. Nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness! I have to
This
wonder.
is cool.
And I have to say, this is a whole genre of YouTube because I remember seeing it at the beginning of quarantine. I will provide a link after this if I can find it. There was a guy who did something similar, except it was a bunch of marbles going down trenches on an actual hill that he was following with a camera. And it was like pod racing in Star Wars Episode 1, but with marbles. Just how steadily the camera followed. And
Yeah, I believe there's
Yeah.
actually some of that on the Gels Marble Runs channel.
Yeah, because I'm having on like the view next on the side. There's one that's a marble run, and it's like you were saying, it's on a beach, and they've carved out a track in the sand going downhill. And yeah, that's like the first ones I think I've seen of these. Now that you brought it up, Kyle, and they like other people would like take it over and like, oh, which one of these marbles is gonna go down first? You know, bet on your favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, yeah, kind of entertaining. And it's just so obviously like
Oh, no.
random.
I think I feel like we need to impress upon, like, just to make this clear, these sets are very well built. Everything looks very clean.
Yeah, this is Jake level stuff right here, right, Jake?
Jake used to do a
No.
lot of Legos like this, but I don't know. Jake, I'd could see you doing something like this.
Yeah, but just all the stuff they've like, you know, printed out, like fake advertisements, basically, or they might even be like real advertisements that people paid for the channel.
I mean, that could be sponsors for the channel, yeah.
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 You should see one of the sponsors for the 2021. But I will.
Race
Oh, no.
interrupted. It looks like there's PLA on that. Like,
Did the marble break?
did the marble break?
Oh.
Yeah, listen to
Man
this.
down, man down.
I don't
Bring
know
out
what
the medic.
happened.
How far in are you?
I'm right at 10:51 right now.
Nope, that's something different. Yeah. Since these marbles are personified, sometimes things get unruly and out of hand at stadiums, and sometimes protests break out. Fights.
That was-
God.
They threw litter onto the field.
Yes, they're mad. They're protesting. They're throwing crap out onto the out onto the track.
Come on, Limers.
They're like, well, we
Get
have a
with
little
it.
free. We're gonna have to take a little break. Too.
I've
Try to
got
figure-
a series of marbles pushing like an official's thing over.
Well, I liked on the right before that, the relay one, they have like the photo finish kind of thing from horse racing where they're just showing who barely won by, you know, milliseconds.
Just a couple centimeters in a few seconds.
Oh.
I mean, it's a lot of dedication to something.
Oh no! And then you go to the grandstands and all the the marbles are fighting with each other.
They like ban a certain country from attending this thing because they
Wow.
did a fight.
I'm wondering how much. Like, they've got this next one coming up. It looks like it's all cut plexiglass or fiberglass.
Oh,
that's
that,
the
like
other
some
one, right?
water.
That's the
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's cool.
That's a
Oh, it's a
one.
fish tank. Yeah, and it's definitely cut glass of some sort.
Yeah,
looks
it's
like
glass.
How
Yeah.
much do these guys spend on this? Because it's like, it looks like 3D printed parts and then just stuff you get cut at a hardware store. This has to be expensive.
Yeah, it looks like he has like connects or something as like the bumpers underwater.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let me put it this way. This is just a qualifying round video. The entire 2019 Marble Olympics is 16 videos. They stitched it
Wow.
all together at the very end, and it results in a video about 2 hours and 30 minutes long.
Goodness.
Yeah,
Physics fest for sure.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane, and you know, a lot of people have picked up on this. I actually have an article from the New York Times about competitive marble racing finds fans in a world missing sports.
If you have
This is
not seen this, and you've got something
times.
who's been missing on sports, like,
Do yourself a favor and watch this.
it sounds ridiculous, but this is actually I'm not even watching with sound right now, and this is incredibly entertaining.
It is
It
way
is.
better with sound because you get the announcer that is pro level. This guy is good,
God, this is.
and yeah, it's garnered a lot of attention as well. And this is where I love seeing that the 2021 of these is sponsored by Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, the late night show. Because it
of
was
course.
featured. It was featured on that show. I need to watch that clip and see what he says, but I mean, if it's on there, that. There are people who watch that. Another example that's listed in here is Fall Out Boy's bassist Pete Wentz put on social media these videos, and I mean, I think over the last couple months, the site has garnered. Or not the site, but the YouTube channel has garnered an additional 150,000 subscribers
That's
Just-
major.
Wow.
just because of the pandemic and people reaching out to try to find something else.
Even
instead
outside
of
the context of the pandemic, this is really well done and really well executed.
Yeah, like I said, I came across this last year. I mean, it was the middle of the year last year when all these videos were fresh and new. These the ones for the 2019 Marble Olympics, and I was like, I kept wanting to watch them, and then I eventually kind of forgot about it, but it was always in the back of my mind. And then I rehashed the memory again. I was like, wait a minute, I got to show this to you guys. And then
Thank you so much.
pull up this article from the New York Times explaining that everyone else has done this because of COVID. All these other people have sought out, something other than basketball and soccer and hockey because all of that stuff was, suspended and kind of had to boil.
Like, some stuff's happening now, but like a lot of that's gonna end. So like, this is something that people can still watch. And if you could provide me that link to the New York Times article so we can get that in the show notes as well.
Sure.
This is grade A entertainment.
Yeah, especially like, I love the one we're watching where they're underwater and there is a picture-in-picture where they have a tracking cam for the big picture and then just a top-down view and the little picture of the marbles going along. Yeah.
All right. And there's plenty of content where that came from. There is a 2016, a 2017, a 2018, a 2019, and a 2020 version.
I'd be interested to see what other variations of this kind of stuff come out, though. Like, we've got marble racing, so like, what else can people do with this? I mean, it's the internet has like served as a replacement for a lot of things. I was not aware of this being as popular as it is. I'm seeing these subscriber counts; it's insane.
Yeah, because it's kind of like reminds me a little bit of like, people that are like the way like esports are kind of set up. It's like that level of quality.
Yeah,
and making
it's
it
like MLG stuff. But for marble racing, who'd have thunk something that we'd have these little toys and just watch these marbles go down one at a time, and who could have thought that this would be something that people would actually be still interested in? They didn't shed that from their childhood. They still retained it. Because, I mean,
They've made it better.
Oh, yeah. This is a level above and beyond.
Yeah, this is above and beyond. I've always said, like, there's something really interesting, like we were talking about last episode, Jake, with your with the Pinewood Derby stuff you brought in. Like, it's always very entertaining to see someone hone a seemingly absurd craft to the point of near perfection, and this is another great example of that.
Right, yeah, like something where you're like, I didn't even know that was a hobby, and this person has gone and put so much work into it to where they're like a master at a hobby I didn't even know existed. I do find stuff like that really interesting.
And let's be clear, like, we've got the vaccine and stuff, but we're still going to be in this kind of pattern for a few more months. So if you need something to fill the time, if you need something to fill that sports, hole in your life, this is definitely worth looking into, especially for the more classical style sports casting going on here. I'm absolutely a big fan of this.
Oh, and also, on these Marble Olympics videos, the very first video and the very last video have both an opening ceremony and a closing ceremony. Stop motion animation.
So it's a very well-rounded experience.
It is. Very entertaining when I watched it. It's got like dramatic music to go along with it that was scored by someone else. I mean, it's a whole thing. They even carry this LED candle up to the top and quote unquote light the torch with it. And it's this big lit up stand with blinking lights and stuff. Like I was just absolutely laughing. Like, I mean, this was done right.
Goodness. This
great
is just really good.
Yep, this is a great.
So yeah, Marble Race on YouTube. That's Gels Marble Runs.
JELLE.
And we will again have those in the show notes at wemightbenerds.com. All right. Well, before we wrap up, anyone got anything else we want to mention? Recommend?
There were some gaming awards the other day, was there not?
Yeah, but there's some people have some very strong feelings about that the awards that were given for a variety of reasons that I think that's something we can definitely discuss in the future. I don't want to get too deep into right now because there's some controversies. I think the only thing I'll mention there were some announcements at the Game Awards. Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII is coming to Smash. That's basically was my only takeaway from the Game Awards.
Because he can't leave Cloud alone in any game.
And there was like a video where it looked like he was stabbing Mario, and then they cut, and then he's just hanging on his
suspenders.
Overalls.
Yeah.
But still, like I hate Nintendo allowed that at all, just to imply that. But yeah, I think we can talk about the awards after some of those feelings have cooled off.
Yeah, maybe next episode, maybe in the new year. So,
or we can just
we'll take that one.
So we're trying to end on a high note with Kyle's Marvel video, and you brought up something that a lot of people feel very strongly about.
Okay, fine. Fair enough.
All right, I think that's going to do it for this episode of We Might Be Nerds. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. You can find our show notes at WeMightBeNerds.com. It is a very bare-bones site because it serves only one purpose. Beyond that, we can be found on social media on Twitter at WeMightBeNerdsPod, or you can email us at WeMightBeNerdsPod@gmail.com. Until next episode, again, thank you for listening. I'm Dylan Critchfield.
I am Kyle Montgomery.
I'm Sarah Critchfield.
I'm Jacob Montgomery.
And if you like this, you might just be a nerd too.
We'll see you next time.